Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers. We are going to be building a mobile mining rig, and I'm not sure building on the platform is a good idea. Let's get it going, let's see what it looks like, and let's hope for the best. Right, so I've just dropped this landing gear down and raised everything up one block. This is the sort of size I'm thinking of. What I need to get on here is we need a large cargo container, and that luckily fits in there just nice. I want to be able to process what I'm mining as I'm going. This back half is going to be all about that. Now, do I have a refinery? I do. So I'm going to drop that just there, and we'll fill this full of yield modules, I think, but I'll do that in a second. Now, one thing I could do as well, and now I've got that landing gear on there, I'm kind of thinking about it, is if I grab some landing gears, which I have here, I only need a couple, but I could stick this landing gear right at the front here and one at the back, and because it's not touching the ground, it's not a static grid. But if I delete these blocks, it will become a static grid. But when I have the wheels on, it will be a mobile grid. So what I'll be able to do is adjust the suspension, get the landing gear to lock, it becomes a static grid, which means turbines will work. So I might add some wind turbines to this as well. Right, so I'm just getting the rest of these wheels on, assuming I can stay out of the way long enough to do so. And hopefully all will be well. So I've just moved that back one there because these were touching. I didn't like that. Now, as you can see, that is quite high at the moment. I might need to adjust these down. I would like that one block lower. That's fine. So we need to get rid of all these and replace them at one block lower. We can do that quite easily, luckily. Just in case you didn't know as well, wheels are left and right sided, but the only difference it makes is to the tread of the wheels. It doesn't actually make a difference to anything else. So there we go, nice and low. Got some landing gear in there as well. Cool. Now we've got this extra space at the back. It's actually quite handy because what we'll be able to do is drop things like a gyroscope in here. Probably need a couple of gyroscopes. So I might just put 3 gyroscopes at the back there. We also need to get some batteries in it. I want to leave this front bit all for where I'm going to sit and where I'm going to operate. So that means batteries also need to get in here as well. This bit does not have to be connected, so it's not necessary to leave any space here. So what I think I'll do, we'll just throw the batteries in there like that for now. That isn't too bad, I think. Okay, so one thing we could look at here as well is an ore detector, because it's a mining vessel. It makes sense it could detect ore. Okay, so just drop that ore detector on there as well. That will give us range for 150 meters, which is perfect for this. And then we need to start thinking about how we get everything stowed away on here. I'm thinking of using hinges. I haven't decided. Well, with any great experiment, there comes failure. And pretty sure this is called failure. It's just not strong enough to move it. So we need to have a much better idea of how we're going to manage this. So, I don't know. Let's try a different version, I guess. This took a lot longer than it damn well should have. Rotors aren't as strong as I think they are. That's what it comes down to. They're just not as strong as they think they are. Now, this is on the limit, and this only works if you have certain rotors in certain positions at certain times. So there is going to be a definite need in this to make sure that you fold the rotors away in a specific order. Now, one thing I decided to do was add these hinges, and they're locked in position with these landing gear. And that's just because this whole thing, it's going to rock if it's not in position. I need to double check the angle of these drills. I might try and rotate them a little bit more. But rotate them on this one? What's that look like? Okay, we might have to have that horizontal. I might have it pointing down a little bit more than that though. So we need to do a bit of finagling with it. And just to recap, I had to move the batteries. So let's grab some batteries. I do not actually want batteries there, but I must place batteries. Originally, I had 4 batteries along here, but given the challenges with the mining rig, I decided to move them. And if you remember, I said when this is planted to the ground, it counts as a static grid. So if I just grab a block quickly, and in theory, we'll double check this together, but if I throw this tower in like so, and if I have a wind turbine, I believe we can generate power from this. Yeah, all the time that landing gear is locked, it's going to generate power. that's actually really handy because we can make this have its own power generation using wind turbines. Or maybe a solar array that folds into the middle? Is that gonna be the reason I changed my mind? Solar arrays work everywhere. They work absolutely everywhere. Wind turbines don't. So I can see an advantage to having solar arrays. We've got the drills in place. We need to sort out their resting positions and make sure we're happy with them. And we need to do some driving testing. While it's off the ground, I'm going to place a few blocks to make sure I can walk into it. I put this stairwell on, and I realized I can't really finish it without putting this on the ground because I need to sort the suspension out to make sure it's the right height. And it just might not be a good solution because it's a wheeled vehicle. It's going to move up and down. It's going to bounce. When you're on a spaceship, it doesn't matter because if it bounces, you're in the air. You don't hit anything. Here it will, which means you're always going to need some way of getting on, or at least to adjust the suspension. So let's drop it off this platform and see what happens. Cowabunga. Perfect. The other landing gear kicks in as planned. That is now the perfect height. So, well, it's not the perfect height, but it's as low as it's going to get. We need to adjust this suspension. It's going to need a little bit more strength. We've managed to get the wheels nicely raised off the ground. And in theory, it should, if I push W anyway, move forwards. Oh, I do. So I've limited the power and the speed at the moment. Because, oh, it automatically inverts the wheels? Or, hang on, no. It doesn't automatically invert the wheels. They just all turn. Okay, so we do, having them turn on the rear is actually really helpful. Much more control. But clearly, if I turn left, you can see the wheels hit. Definitely no good. So we have to limit the angle of those ones. We want to find the rear wheels. And I'm going to have to go name them so I can find them. But we'll change the steering angle on the rear ones so it's not as much, or we'll just make it fixed. It's really useful to have it, but there isn't a lot of steer angle that we can get here because they will collide basically. So only a few degrees, but it will help. Does this even move now? You can see the gyro control is fine. Oh. Right, it's not certainly not quick. I've managed to sort out some of the wheels. So I've set the degree of steering to 10 degrees on the rear and left the front well alone. But let's see what this is like to drive now. So I've got the power set to 100%. Zoom out a little bit. It should move. I think it's going to be interesting. See, the rear wheels do turn. It just gives it a little bit more steering. And I don't know if I can make it down here. Tricky bits of terrain that we see here. We can use the gyroscopes to steer a little bit more than the wheels, and that should help us get down without too much of a problem. And that, actually, those landing gear on those drills is working out really well. It's, ooh, got a bit bouncy. Let the wheels come back down. That's the gyroscopes doing their job. It's just maybe not ideal. So this is quite a big lake. Let's see if we can get up some speed on here. So I'm holding as full as I can. We might need to increase the friction on this. Let's do that now and see if we can get a bit quicker movement by increasing the friction. So we'll set that to 100% and see what happens now. It's hard to say if that's quicker or not. I mean, it's moving. That's the main thing here. It's really struggling though, isn't it? Why is it struggling? Can't be power. We've got so many batteries, plus it's creative. Is it just the friction of the ice? I would like to know why this does not have plenty of gusto. Is it just that limited? Do you know what we should do? We should say screw it. All right, well, let's add an atmospheric thruster onto here. It's gonna look ridiculous. Can I? Oh, I can get it in there. Ah, it's a rocket-powered mining craft. This is amazing. Right, so now it's basically a ship, but whether the wheels turn or not, this thing's moving. Oh, I can't stop. Can I I gotta try and spin this around and get that thruster to fire to slow me down. Oh, the brakes work. Okay, so definitely helps. Definitely thrusters, but that is not the right thruster. That's too much thrust. So that is 4. That's got to make a reasonable difference. Let's try that. Yeah, it's definitely helping. I'm trying to work out why would this not be flying along. I mean, that should be flying along. Why wouldn't it be flying along? So I worked it out. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Well, what did I do? I put on the show notes potentials. Equalizes virtual masses of connected grids, blah, 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 blah. More stable behavior. Yes, definitely more stable. Also, stopped it moving. Now we're flying. We still need to work out how we can control this. I don't know if I want the extra wheels on the back or not. I might cut them off and see what happens. Again, this should be plenty powerful enough now. Hey, okay, good. This is moving as I expected it to move the first time. Let's see if we can drive up this bit though. It looks quite steep, but this is pretty hefty rover. So we'll get up some speed, all 22 meters per second of it, and see if we can fly up this. Yeah, that didn't go well. Just doing a wheelie. Yeah, this is way too steep, I think. Maybe we bounced off it, and that was the main problem. Let's give it a second to recoup. Okay, so if we stop there, put the park brake on. Can we fix this with control of friction is my question. So if I put friction up to 100% and then take the park brake off, can I now drive up here? We might want to add, in that case, friction control to our hotbar. I mean, to be fair, this is quite steep, I think, for this rover. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's alternatives which are not this steep. Oh, wow, is that even too steep? I mean, I suppose it is quite steep. Again, we didn't have wheels on the floor, which doesn't help. Like, look at this side. Maybe we just needed to hit it with full speed. Yeah, we're not making it out of this. That's for sure. Okay, well, it looks like now we're testing in the ice mine. Let's plug up and do a bit more shaping of the front. Okay, so I'm not saying this is done, but kind of looks a little bit like a cat, and I quite like it. So what I want to do next episode is get the unfurling of this working, get a little control center set up here, I think, and do a bit more shaping. I want this to work up to at least this height, and I do want this to be a little bit enclosed, I think. So I don't think I'm going to keep the cat cab going, but we'll see. We've got to get power generation. Now, I've got these 4 nuclear reactors, but frankly, these are here more for aesthetics. I want it, this whole back is probably going to remain open and just get colored. And I want this to look industrial. And that's one of the reasons having the landing gear here. It wasn't just to stop this moving. It's because from this angle, it kind of starts looking like an engine more. Which means some of these batteries might disappear because they're turning it into a flat block. And I don't want it to look like a flat block. We might have to rearrange some of those. And we also need to get power generation in it. And actually, maybe this area here will be a better location for that power generation to happen. The 6 batteries seems to be okay. We can always sneak a bucket ton more underneath, and that helps with mass. I might stick them at the front just to help balance the weight of the refinery and everything else. So yeah, there's a bucket ton of work to do there. We'll see what happens, and we'll try and finish it off in the next episode, but this is definitely a 2-parter. It's taken a lot longer than I would have liked to get these working. And it turns out this is why people don't build mobile mining rigs, because it just isn't simple. there's a lot to consider, especially getting it to not explode. So with that all said and done, be sure to drive safe, or safer than I have been. And if you like the video, hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Drive safe, fly safe, who cares?